as it is given the question of second illustration for the death of the partner. The Sudha has been died on 30th June 2012 and year ending 31st March 2012. So now Sudha's loan is there for rupees 10,000. Now in this case, Sudha's loan will be transferred to capital account to the debit side. The entry will be, journal entry will be Sudha's capital account debit to Sudha's loan account, in this way, right? Another type of question can come in the death of the partner. There is 74th illustration. Khanna, Seth and Mehta are partners, and there the main thing which I want to tell you that in this case, balance sheet is given as follows. Seth has been died, so one of the partner has been died, and the loan from Seth 50,000 it is given in the question, and he has been died on 14 March 2019. So that is the balance sheet given on the 31st December 2018. So that means the year ending for the firm is 31st December. Now Seth has been died on 14th March, so you have to cover January, February and then March, and then this you cannot calculate the month, so you have to go with the days with that. So January 31st, 31 there is a January 31 days, and then January 31 days, and then February 28 days, and for March 14. So there will be 73 days. For that you have to make the calculation. So as you see, this is the partner's loan account on 31st March 2018, and then after 73 days the Seth has been died. So you have to give interest of 6% per annum on this particular amount, because no amount is given in the question for loan is given. So when there is a partner's loan, and that is a liability for the business, then business has to, or firm has to pay 6% per annum on that interest, on that particular loan as interest. So 50,000 into interest 6% per annum into 73 by 365. This is the calculation you have to make. That is interest on Seth loan, 50,000 into 73 by 365 into 600. So this is the interest on partner's loan which you have to make, and then you have to transfer loan amount 50,000 and 600 to executor account, because now executor has to carry on with that. Nothing has been paid before that. So amount of Seth's capital account, and then amount of loan, and then amount of interest, all these will be transferred to Seth's executor account. So this is the journal entry you have to make. Seth's capital account debit, Seth's loan account debit 50,000, Seth's capital account debit 1,61,000. That is after all the adjustments. Then interest on Seth loan 600. The amount will be 2,11,600. So this is the amount you have to make, and then this is the interest which is on the partner's loan account. So this is the entry you have to make, and again now the Seth's executor account will be stand first 2,11,600, and if that is said that it is to be transferred to Seth's executor loan account, because the amount is not paid, so we will transfer that to Seth's executor's loan account from the executor account. So executor account, all this amount will be on credit side of executor account, and this will be on the debit side, because all these amount has to be transferred to simultaneously on the Seth's executor's loan account, because no amount has been paid till now. Now the next chapter is dissolution of partnership firm. So there is a two thing, that dissolution of partnership or dissolution of partnership firm. Whenever there is a dissolution of partnership, then that means what happens, why there is a dissolution of partnership. In the case of profit sharing ratio, as you know that this is also known as reconstitution of partnership firm, and also in the case of admission, at retirement you have done. In the case of expulsion of partner, if you expel or if you remove any partner. In the case of death of the partner, in the case of insolvency of a partner, and in the case of expiry of the period of partnership. So all these cases cause dissolution of partnership, but it is not dissolution of partnership firm. That is dissolution of partnership, means dissolution of agreement whatever they have been made among each other. Now dissolution of partnership firm, this is the chapter, it is about dissolution of partnership firm. So there is a dissolution of partnership firm. There are two cases, with the intervention of court and without the intervention of court. Without the intervention of court means when the court is not interfering, partnership firm has to be dissolved. In which cases, mutual agreement, as per section 40, mutual agreement is there, then the partnership firm has to be dissolved, because when all the partners is having a mutual agreement, we have to dissolve the partnership firm. Second is compulsion dissolution. So in the case of section 41, the firm is compulsorily need to be that is to be compulsory need to be dissolved in the following cases. One, when all or but one partner of the firm become insolvent. In this case, the firm has to be dissolved itself, and when the business of the firm become unlawful. So in all the cases, the partnership firm dissolve itself. Now, on the happening of some events, the firm may be dissolved. So when the firm may be dissolved on the happening of the following events, so on the insolvency of partner, or the death of the partner, even firm can be dissolved with the mutual agreement. On the fulfillment of the object for which the firm has been made, if that objective has been fulfilled, on the expiry of the period for which the firm was formed. So after having all these events, the firm dissolved itself, or happening of this event, the firm dissolved. Now by notice. So when the duration of partnership firm is not fixed, and in this case it is at will of the other partner giving notice to dissolve the firm, then firm is to be dissolved. And by the order of the court, what happened, the court can order in the following cases under the following circumstances. And what are the circumstances? When a partner has become of unsound mind, then court can dissolve the firm. And when a partner has become permanently incapable of doing some work, so any partner can file the case that due to this particular reason. And when a partner is guilty of misconduct of that harm the partnership, in this case also partnership firm can be dissolved by filing a case in the court. When a partner willfully or persistently commit breach of partnership agreement, so continuously he is doing this, then other partners can file the case. When a partner has transferred the whole of his business to the third party, and then even then the partners can file the case. When a court is satisfied that the firm cannot be carried on except at a loss, so when the court think that the partnership business can only carry on at loss, and that will cause problem for all type of stakeholder in the business, then court can dissolve the firm. And when a court is satisfied that the dissolution is just and equitable due to some other reason can be there which can be attached with it, so court can dissolve the partnership firm. So in this case you have to learn all these cases. One more question can come out of that. Now there is a difference between, it's very important difference, dissolution of partnership and dissolution of firm. So what is the difference between dissolution of partnership and dissolution of firm? First of all, it refers to when there is a change in existing agreement between the partner, that you call the reconstitution of partnership firm also, but it refers to the closure of the firm. Here the firm continues business after the dissolution of partnership, but now the firm cannot continue the business, firm come to an end. Economic relation between the partners continue though in a change form. So the relation means profit sharing ratio or some other division of profit and losses can be changed, but partnership firm will go on. But in this case, economic relation between the partners comes to an end even. Now the closure of the books of accounts. The books of accounts need not to be closed, and here books of accounts need to be closed, and that you will do in this chapter. Settlement of assets and liabilities. There is a revaluation of assets and liability. Assets and liability are to be revalued again. Values have been again measured, again calculated by some actuarial or some valuer, but and all the previous reserve and losses, that is to be distributed among the partners in their own profit sharing ratio. But in this case, in the case of partnership dissolution of firm, assets are sold out and liabilities are to be paid out, and then if the balance has been left over after that, after paying all the debts, that is to be distributed among the partners. Effect, the dissolution of partnership does not necessarily means the dissolution of firm, but the dissolution of firm definitely means there is a dissolution of partnership also. When there is no firm, there is no partnership. Court intervention, there is no intervention of court in the case of dissolution of partnership, but there can be court intervention in the case of dissolution of firm, as you have just noticed in all the cases. So these cases you have to learn. Now the settlement of accounts on dissolution. Section 48 of the Partnership Act specify the mode of settlement of account. First of all, the payment is to be if any payment is to be made, then first of all you have to use the profit, then capital, and then from the partner side you have to get the amount. Partners in their profit sharing ratio, but definitely they will share the loss in their profit sharing ratio. If any amount relies from the sale of asset, that is to be used in this way. First of all, outside debts is to be paid, then the loan advanced by partner will be paid off, then the balance of partners capital account will be returned, and then if the some amount is left, that is divided among all the partners in their profit sharing ratio. All these questions can be asked in 1 mark or MCQ from you. Now the rules about firm's debts and private debt. What is the difference between firm's debts and private debts? Firm's debt, basically these are the debts, and this amount you have to pay. with the firm owes to outsider, that is firm debts. Means outsider means other than the partner. Now private debts, the debts which a partner owes in his personal capacity are called private debts. When partner has to pay on his personal capacity to outsider, that is private debts. Now what is the rule? That amount realized from the sale of asset of the firm firstly used to pay off the firm debt, and then if surplus is left, that is divided among the partners. But when the amount realized from the sale of private estate of the partner, that will be used first to pay off the private debts, then it is used for the, if surplus is left, that can be used to pay off the firm's debt. 1 mark question can ask with the given this situation in the paper. Now the difference between firm debts and private debts that is given, that firm debt refers to the debt payable by the firm to outsider. Private debts refers to the debts payable by the partner in this personal capacity. For firm's debt, all partners are liable jointly, and here the private debts only that partner is liable to which the liability is concerned. Now here the firm's debt is applied, firm's property is applied first towards the payment of firm's debt, and the remaining balance is there, that will be divided among the partners. And here private concern about the partner's share in the excess of firm's property. So the firm property is excess or asset can be excess with the excess of the firm debt, then only in this case the excess amount can be used for to pay off the private debts. Now the surplus of partner's private property over his private debts can apply towards the payment of firm's debt. So if there is any surplus of partner's private property over his private debt, then that amount can be used to pay off the firm's debt. And here private property is applied firstly towards the private debts, then towards paying the firm's debt.